welcome back for another video. My name is Manpreet. I'm a self-healing coach and mentor, and today I wanted to answer one of my community questions about love and money and why they're kind of the same. And those of us that struggled with love, with finding healthy love, can struggle with money too. And that is because love and money really mirror our feelings of self-worth, our self-belief, our self-trust, and also our safety in receiving that thing. Now, I have had this experience in my own life, so I thought I'd share my own story. For me, love and money mirrored a relationship that I had with my dad. So, love and money might mirror a similar relationship with a masculine figure in your life, or some particular wounding where you didn't feel like you were worthy, where you felt like you had to prove, where you felt like you had to chase, that you weren't enough as you are, where you felt like you had to get into your masculine. So you had to like push and force and control to try and get a little crumb of love or a little crumb of money. And it like plays out in love and money. So when I first noticed this pattern with love, I was chasing a lot of unavailable men, trying to prove my worth, trying to like look better and give them what they needed and do all of the things. And then they wouldn't choose me and I wouldn't feel enough. And I just was like, it was not working. I wasn't attracting the love I truly wanted into my life until I was like, okay, I need to raise my standards. This is the guy that is coming into my life, a version of my dad. This is what I actually want, which was a higher standard of man, as someone that was emotionally available, somebody that used to text me back, somebody that wanted a future with me, like a completely higher standard of love. So I had to be brave enough to ask for the universe for what I had to desire. And then I had to really show that I was serious about that and basically start to weed out of my life the behaviors that were showing that I didn't believe I was worthy of this. So that meant like hanging out with men that didn't treat me very well. That meant, like situationships. That meant like all those kind of, like crumbs that I was accepting. I had to remove all of those things. So I had to like tidy up my relationship behavior and really focus on feeling worthiness and wholeness and love and enough and safe, like in myself, and believing that this new man would come into my life. So I asked and then I leaned back to receive. I didn't force, control, or anything. And I would listen to my intuition. So if my intuition asked me to do anything, like it actually asked me to change jobs, which is where I met my husband, it asked me to like leave this toxic work environment. It asked me to get therapy. It asked me to get this particular coach. It asked me to listen to books. And, I followed those intuitive guidance, but I leaned back and I wasn't trying to like fix or anything like that. I was just trying to understand some patterns and heal them and shed them and let them go. And then I was able to raise my standard in love and I had to feel safe to receive. This was really important in the nervous system rather than self-sabotage, rather than run away, rather than recreate what I had before. I had to like help my body to feel safe to have this new reality when this new available man did turn up in my life. And it's exactly the same thing with money, okay? So years later, I've always had this relationship with money, a bit like the masculine, a bit like dating, where I didn't feel like it was enough and felt like I was always chasing and felt like I never really got what I really wanted and felt like I was accepting less than. I felt like I was giving a lot. I felt like I was forcing and chasing and yeah, very similar patterns to the ones I had with men. And basically, I decided that I am not going to do that anymore. So, raising my standard for my relationship with money so that I have savings, like a bursting savings account, like why not six figures so that I would be mortgage free. Some of these standards are recent, by the way, but like they are coming. So it's good for me to share, and I can share a part two when I've manifested it. So, I am having a mortgage free, having a certain amount per month. What was happening was I was manifesting money, a bit like when I was dating, actually. So I started to manifest more money as I sort of worked on myself a little bit and started to feel like more magnetic. But I was still not attracting quite what I really, really wanted. It wasn't quite exactly the standard that I wanted in men. And it was the same with money. So I started to have these big 5-figure months. I had a 6-figure year, but it wasn't feeling how I wanted like it to really feel. Like I wanted to feel peace and safety and spaciousness and joy. And actually, I wanted money to come to me when I was resting and relaxing. I wanted money to come to me when I wasn't doing or forcing or controlling, like literally just leaning back. And so I've had to work on that. So, a bit like the whole dating story, I had to identify my unhealthy patterns of, like, say, overwork, of undercharging, of spending money on things that weren't aligned, of not sometimes contracting and not giving myself what I needed financially, like the support I needed, etc. And again, following that intuitive guidance, like, oh my God, I should create this video, or I should do this in my business, or I should go for that prize. And by the way, I won a car once, so this does really, really work. And so really removing those unhealthy behaviors, a bit like the unhealthy habits with the men. And just with the men, when I was in that void where there was no men and the new man hadn't come, and I had to hold my nerve that it would come. And I would like almost trick myself into thinking that there was evidence that it was changing. Like the bad guys were kind of falling out of my energetic field and different men were kind of interested in me. They still weren't quite right, but like it was showing me that things were changing. And it was the same with money. So as I've been healing my relationship with money, I stopped getting money from relationships that maybe felt draining, where I had to feel like I had to give a lot at work, or where I had to work many, many hours. And it started to come from like, my group programs and through things that were so much more nourishing to me. So it was basically reflecting back to me what my minimum standard now is, which is like you work less, but you earn the same. And then it was like, okay, well, this is great, universe. I'm loving this. We're getting better. But actually, I would like to raise my standard of what is my minimum now. And then leaning back and trusting that you will be provided for. And that is really hard when you have a history where you weren't provided for by the masculine in a way that made you feel safe and secure and supported. And that's why we can kind of mirror those relationships. I have a lot of clients who have healed their wound with men, and then they become entrepreneurs and like often they're helping people with dating and things like that. And then the money wounds show up, the not feeling safe in it. And actually, what's really interesting with money, it can be to do with success as well. So like maybe what we believe is success, like those wounds can kind of run those shows. So when we do this inner work and we look at our shadows, we become aware of what those standards are and we go, actually, this is no longer okay for me. I'm actually no longer okay for this to be my minimum standard. Actually, thank you. And I would like it to now be this. And then getting very aware of what those limiting beliefs are and switching those to different beliefs. Also, really holding that in your body. Now, this is the thing, like the body can hold us back, the nervous system can really hold us back. So, we really want to allow it to feel safe. And we want to create capacity in the nervous system to receive. So, not just like, the removal of people and the creating of the space, but also the internal narratives, the internal imprints that tell us that that is normal for us. Like we want to remove those too. But yeah, it's such an interesting thing, isn't it? That it's the same. And for me, and I've seen this with a lot of my clients that struggled with money. That's why I wanted to put it out there. And I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments of like how it feels like dad, how it feels like that energy, or maybe it feels like the patriarchy or something, or like feeling like, it's an unsafe thing. And we don't just have that around money. We also have like a lot of society programming that tells us it has to be a struggle, that we have to force things, that it's really, really hard. We have to do it in this way. So there's a lot of unlearning of those things, but that's a bit like that shedding of the unhealthy patterns that I talked about. Some of that is shedding of that. So, like being better with being intentional about your money, investing in yourself, things like that. And also not overspending on crap or anything, but also looking at like what society paradigms am I bringing into my minimum standard here right now? Because that is a problem. Okay. So you want to like be fully aware of the reality that you are creating. And then you want to be like, okay, this is how I want it to feel. And then you're embodying that feeling every single day. And then you're noticing when you're out of alignment. And then you're taking care of those parts. Now, I have a class where I sort of go in through my whole method for raising your vibration. You can use it for money, you can use it for love. It's all completely trauma informed. I'll talk about your nervous system as well. It's completely free. There's a link below or in the notes. And also, there is a free community that you can join, and I'm part of that. I'm doing this work on myself right now to manifest my next level in my business, in my income, and I'm sharing with you as I do it. And because I know this stuff really, really works. I've done it before and manifested the absolute most amazing man because I stopped living to the standard that my family, my upbringing told me was possible for me. And I created a new one for myself. And it actually came really easy when I stopped doing all of the things in the way. And then with money, we have to kind of do things. We'll get intuitive nudges, especially as entrepreneurs, what to follow that, like to be like, okay, I'm going to talk about this edgy thing, or I'm going to create this offer. And sometimes you're creating an offer or an edgy thing, and it's not for anybody but for you. And it's for you to increase your magnetism or you to step into your thought leadership or something like that, right? So you've really got to trust the process, trust yourself and trust the process and trust the divine. And when we've had like trauma around money, like maybe it's been used to control us, maybe it's been a scarce resource, then like we have some of those feelings with it. This I've spoken about this in a previous video. Like we can feel like really insecurely attached by it. And that's how we perceive, that's how we see the world, that's the eyes in which we look at it. But you are completely worthy, you are more than good enough. And the more and more you raise your vibration, you will be in alignment with that frequency. And then you will get your intuitive ideas of what you've got to do, if there's anything at all, to manifest money. Like one of my clients, she manifested like six figures for the house that she wants to get without actually doing anything. So it's not like it has to come through this way. Like your mind will try to do that, but there is an universal intelligence at play that you get to play with when you come into the metaphysical and the energetic realm. Like it's not matter to matter. So matter is like I do these steps and they equal money, right? Not that that doesn't work, because it does. Like there's loads of business strategies about that. And I spent a lot of my business career doing all of that, and it was a lot of work. And I decided to master my shadows, work on my inner self, because that would be the easier way of manifesting. And I'm seeing it already, like even in this week that I'm recording these videos for you. So I hope that helps. And whether you're in a relationship or not, reflect on it. So some of the patterns that you healed in love, they might be showing up now with money in your business or anything like that. Or like it's sometimes the same stuff, but in a deeper way. And a lot of my clients say they find money so much more difficult because it really triggers the feeling of safety. And when you've had a lot of trauma in your past, that can feel really like unsafe in the body, which is why I'm always banging on to my clients and hear about somatic practices. It's doing things, finding tools that support you to make your body feel safe. Like for me, it's like lying on the floor. It's like focusing on my breath. It's like using my seven senses to see where everything is. It's self-touch. It's tapping, which I've done a little video on before. Like it's all of these things that bring me into this present moment. And when my mind's like, oh my God, it's not safe, go back into this old program. I'm like, nope, I'm not going back into the old program. So my old program used to be like, hustle, let's hustle, let's hustle. And then, no, no, I'm not going to hustle. Sorry, I'm not going to hustle because that's the old way. I've raised my standard. I no longer hustle. And yeah, it's so interesting because as you do this, you're raising the standard for your life and you're internally raising the standard as well for your in your experience. So I just wanted to send you so much love. And if you have any questions, you can pop them down below and I will speak to you in the comments. And yeah, tell me about your experiences. Tell me about money, tell me about love, how it's felt. And I'd love to answer those questions and come and join us in that free community. I would love to support you in there. And you can hear about all the weird things that I'm doing to crack my new energetic standard.